What's going on, guys? It's Greg here, aka NYPrepper. It is Wednesday, May 27th, 2026, and I have some breaking news to share with you guys. Right now, it is 1900 Eastern Time here in the United States, and we have some major breaking news coming in from Iran and from Europe. So it doesn't look like there's any peace treaty between Iran and the U.S. in the works. It looks like everything is basically dead in the water as of right now. And also, it appears that Russia is preparing to make some kind of a big move, potentially on NATO or potentially also on Ukraine. So I want to update you guys with all the latest breaking news that I have. I'm going to get into Iran in just a little bit. First, I want to get into Eastern Europe because it looks like something is brewing over there. So if you remember yesterday's update, I reported that there was some unusual radio activity in Belarus. The Belarusian military had a 200% increase in radio signals, and there were also some intelligence, reconnaissance, and surveillance signals in Belarus as well near the Lithuanian border. Well, now we're hearing that Europe is on high alert over a potential Russian assault within the next year, according to the Wall Street Journal. NATO officials fear that the Kremlin could attack the Baltics or the Arctic to test NATO unity and justify a new domestic mobilization. Security sources told the Wall Street Journal that Russia may soon attempt to test NATO's cohesion due to its rift with Trump by striking a Baltic state, Swedish or Danish islands in the Baltic Sea, or allied territory in the Arctic. So this is very, very serious. And we're also hearing some breaking news coming in from Finland that apparently a Russian military aircraft violated Finnish airspace recently, and the Finnish Air Force responded to the incident with an operational flight, the Defense Forces of Finland said in a statement, adding that it happened near Porkala, or on the southwestern coast of Finland. So that's very interesting. That's down in the Baltic Sea. So the Finnish military is saying that the Russian military aircraft was evading a thunderstorm in the Gulf of Finland. So that's close to St. Petersburg and Estonia and close to Helsinki, the capital of Finland. Okay, they're saying that it was evading a thunderstorm, but I really don't believe that. And the fact that they responded with an operational flight means that they scrambled fighter jets. So something is definitely brewing. Also, Russia's permanent representative to the OSCE said that the West is close to a direct confrontation with Russia. We're also hearing that the U.S. may be bringing back the B-1 bombers in a nuclear role. The U.S. House Armed Services Committee included a 10-year extension to the planned retirement of the B-1 strategic bomber in the new defense budget, and is now also considering upgrades to make the B-1 nuclear again. Okay, so if you guys are not aware, I think it was back in the early 2000s, we started phasing out the B-1s from their nuclear bombing role. And that was mostly because of Obama's START treaty with the Russians. So we had to remove the nukes from the B-1s and make them non-nuclear capable. But now that the START treaty is gone, it looks like the Trump administration wants to bring the B-1s back as nuclear bombers, which is huge news, okay? And Russia wasted no time in responding to this. The Russian Foreign Ministry said, "We will respond to Washington's intentions to increase its nuclear arsenal beyond the limits of the START treaty." Okay, so Russia's not happy about that. And the Ukrainian president sent an urgent letter to President Trump warning of critical shortages in Ukraine's missile defense capabilities. Zelensky also said that Russia will intensify mobilization. He said at least tens of thousands of Russians, okay? And we heard that yesterday as well, that Russia is preparing some kind of big mobilization drive. They're drafting a large number of people for some reason, either for another big attack on Ukraine to try to seize control of the entire eastern part of Ukraine, or maybe they want to take the capital, or maybe they want to go into the Baltics. Who knows, okay? But something is brewing, okay? And the German news outlet Der Spiegel is reporting that the U.S. plans to significantly reduce military contributions to NATO allies in a crisis, including fighter jets, warships, mid-air refueling aircraft, and drones. The U.S. will only provide half the previous number of strategic bombers, reduce the number of U.S. Air Force fighter jets by a third, make fewer destroyers available, and no longer provide any submarines to NATO. The U.S. also plans to scale back the provision of armed drone models and force Europe to provide its own reconnaissance drones. Wow. So massive scaling back of U.S. support for European allies, and this is potentially the window of opportunity that Putin needs to attack the Baltics. And Reuters reported that NATO is now forming 3 divisions with 60,000 troops that are going to be dedicated for a rapid response force to go to the eastern part of NATO. The plan focuses on reinforcing the Baltic region, including Estonia and Latvia, while raising readiness for rapid response to potential threats from Russia. So 60,000 troops going to the Baltics, guys. That is huge. And Russian official Vyacheslav Volodin said Russia could use weapons that would leave no trace of anyone if attacks on civilians continue. And he's responding to the Ukrainian attack on Starobilsk in eastern Ukraine, which Russia says attacked civilians, some kind of university, supposedly, according to the Russians. All right, and that's why Russia responded with the massive attacks over the weekend. But remember, Russia is planning some kind of massive attack in the coming days. And when that happens, I will try to go live and cover it for you. But it sounds like Russia could use nukes, is what he's referring to. Weapons that would leave no trace of anyone, okay? And Ukraine hit Russia's Black Sea Fleet aviation headquarters in Sevastopol last night with a cruise missile. That's apparently the second time they've hit this aviation headquarters of the Black Sea Fleet. And NATO allies are moving towards inviting Japan, South Korea, Australia, and New Zealand to the NATO summit in July. So that's very interesting. Maybe they're going to be a part of NATO. I don't know. Very interesting. And Putin signed a law authorizing the use of military force to protect Russian citizens abroad, allowing Russia to deploy soldiers to protect citizens facing arrest, imprisonment, or trial overseas, including in international courts. Wow. So this is definitely a precursor to some kind of Russian military operation, okay? Signing a law authorizing the use of military force to protect Russian citizens, allowing Russia to deploy soldiers to protect citizens facing imprisonment. Okay, that they do that in the Baltics. They arrest a lot of Russians, so that could be the excuse Putin needs. And this update was sponsored by EMP Shield. Guys, EMP Shield has created a special discount just for you, the listeners of the NYPrepper channel. If you go to empshield.com and use the promo code NYPrepper, you can get 15% off your entire order. And why do you need an EMP Shield? Well, this is a special device to protect your vehicle, your RV, your solar generators, your radios from an electromagnetic pulse, which could be caused by a solar flare or potentially a rogue country like North Korea detonating an electromagnetic pulse weapon over the United States that's mounted onto a satellite. So protect your vehicles, protect your RV, protect your radios, protect your generators with an EMP shield. Use my promo code NYPrepper to get 15% off. Installation is super simple. This is a veteran-owned business, 100% American-made, and the EMP shields have been tested by the military, okay? And free shipping is included to the entire continental United States. And the link and the promo code are in the description below this video. And I wanted to just play some clips of Trump from earlier today. He gave a press conference. I want you to just listen. He talks about the Iran situation.
It has no value. Their whole economic system is broken down. They thought they were going to outweight me. You know, we'll outweight him. He's got the midterms. I don't care about the midterms. Look what happened last night. That was the prelude to the midterms. People understand it. They know that. Very simple. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. I'm doing that for the world. I'm not doing it just for us.
Okay, so he's saying he doesn't care about the midterms, and he's saying that Iran thinks that they're going to be able to squeeze Trump with oil prices, and he said he doesn't care about the midterms and oil prices, and he was referencing the strikes the other night on Iran. So it doesn't look like Trump's backing down. Here's another clip.
And that's never going to happen. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, on the shooting on Iran, would you be comfortable with Russia or China taking their stockpile of highly enriched uranium, and have they offered to do that?
No, I wouldn't be comfortable.
Mr. President,
that would not make me comfortable.
Okay, so Trump said he would not be comfortable if Russia and China took Iran's nuclear arsenal or nuclear material.
The coming year. And we have the strongest military anywhere in the world, as you know. You saw what we did with Venezuela. That worked out very quickly. And we're doing really equally as well with, but again, people don't want to write about it, with Iran. Iran is very much intent. They want very much to make a deal. So far, they haven't gotten there. We're not satisfied with it, but we will be. We will be either that or we'll have to just finish the job. But their Navy is gone, as I've said 1,000 times. Their Navy is gone. Their Air Force is gone. Everything's gone, and they're negotiating on fumes.
He said they're negotiating on fumes. Okay, so time is running out for Iran.
We'll see what happens. Maybe we have to go back and finish it. Maybe we don't. Right now, I mean, you can speak to Steve Witkoff and Jared. They're doing a good job. But right now, I think... it looks like they want to just make a deal. They want to. They have. I don't think they have a choice. They're just going back to the internet because they're getting clobbered. Their economy is in free fall.
So he's saying that they restarted the internet in Iran because their economy is doing so bad. Okay, but he's saying that maybe they're going to have to go back and finish the job. Maybe they won't. It's hard to say at this point.
Interesting reading for people.
Mr. President, Iran wants control of the Strait of Hormuz. Would you accept a short-term deal that allows Iran and Oman to control the strait? And would they have to open it immediately, or would you be open to that happening over a period of time?
No, the strait's going to be open to everybody.
And who would control it?
It's international waters. Nobody's going to control it. We're going to watch over it. We'll watch over it, but nobody's going to control it. That's part of the negotiation that we have. They would like to control it. Nobody's going to control it. It's international waters, and Oman will behave just like everybody else, so we'll have to blow them up. They understand that. They'll be fine.
All right, so Trump's saying that the Strait of Hormuz is international waters and that he's not going to sign any deal that would give Iran control over the Strait of Hormuz. And U.S. aircraft deployed to Israel are set to redeploy to bases in Europe within the next 3 days with standby orders to return if the Iran conflict resumes. So this is very interesting. All those aerial refuelers that were stationed in Ben Gurion Airport, looks like they're going to be moved to Europe. And my only guess is that if there's some kind of a big escalation in this war, they're not going to want a dozen or 2 dozen aerial refuelers and a bunch of our fighter jets in the Middle East because they're going to be hit by Iranian missiles. So what I think is going on is a sly way of preparing for another big attack, a much bigger attack, and they're concerned that our aircraft will be vulnerable by just leaving them all over the Middle East because they've already hit a lot of our aircraft, okay, the Iranians, with drones and missiles. So they want to move them further away into Europe where they're safer. And this is good news. Somebody is using their common sense in the Trump administration, but this looks like it could be preparations for some kind of a big escalation. And the head of Russia's Rosatom nuclear energy company, that's the state-owned nuclear energy company, said that they will postpone the return of their employees to the Bushehr nuclear reactor in Iran. So Russia must be concerned about continued escalation in Iran. They're not bringing their scientists back to the Iranian nuclear reactor that they built right on the Persian Gulf. And the White House said that the draft agreement between the U.S. and Iran published in Iranian state media is a complete fabrication. So no agreement has been reached or anything. There's no agreement. The White House said that Trump will only sign a deal that serves U.S. interests and guarantees Iran will not obtain nuclear weapons. And Iran's Deputy Secretary of the Supreme National Security Council said, until we have agreed on all issues, we consider that we have agreed on nothing. Okay, so Iran is doubling down. And Trump told PBS that Iran will not receive sanctions relief in exchange for giving up its highly enriched uranium, stating directly, no, not at all. No sanctions relief. Okay, so Trump really taking a tough stance against Iran today, past few hours. And Iran's supreme leader said regional powers will no longer serve as a shield for U.S. bases. The U.S. will no longer have a safe haven in the region. So interestingly that we're now pulling out our aircraft from the Middle East right around the same time as the supreme leader said that the U.S. will no longer have a safe haven in the region. So Iran is planning to increase their attacks on U.S. bases across the region if we restart the war. So this is what's going on. These are preparations for round two, guys. And the head of the National Security Committee in the Iranian parliament said, we will not back down in the face of Trump's speech regarding his red lines. The same guy also said that Iran has the right to enrich uranium. So Iran is not backing down at all. And Iranian sources report that all the major missile bases in the country are now back in operation. Over 80% of all tunnel entrances struck during the war have been restored. Wow. And I wanted to update you guys on the situation with Ebola. It looks like this Ebola outbreak is spreading in Africa. So we're hearing now that the Trump administration is expected to deploy U.S. public health officers to Kenya to staff a potential quarantine facility there amid the Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo, according to people familiar with the matter. And now Uganda closed their entire border with the Democratic Republic of Congo. So the situation is spiraling out of control over there. And 2 Chinese Coast Guard vessels violated Japanese waters near the Senkaku Islands recently. And North Korea tested 2 new rocket systems, the multi-caliber rocket launcher, similar to our HIMARS, which fires the Hwasong-11 RA ballistic missile and guided 240mm rockets. They also tested a tactical cruise missile launcher that is AI guided, has a 100-kilometer range, and is capable of glide and propulsion flight, and will be deployed to frontline artillery brigades near the border with South Korea. Both systems feature fully automated fire control, so that is very concerning. North Korea increasing their short-range capabilities, their short-range artillery and ballistic missile capabilities. Not good. And Spanish police raided the Spanish Prime Minister's party headquarters on suspicion of illegal financing. The Socialist Workers' Party has been hit by a series of corruption cases in recent months. So, very concerning situation there in Spain. The Prime Minister is a socialist. And speaking of socialism, we have Marco Rubio here talking about Cuba. Cuba will be the next big target for the U.S. Remember, the Nimitz aircraft carrier strike group has been moved to the Caribbean, okay? So it's just a matter of time before the U.S. turns its attention towards Cuba. But listen to what Rubio had to say.
Be made. I think there's been some progress and some interest, and we'll see over the next few hours and days whether progress could be made. I just want to remind everybody, Mr. President, you know this well, you have other options available to you if that doesn't work. But the bottom line is that be made, I think.
So he's actually talking about Iran here, talking about Trump having military options if talks fail with Iran.
Cuba's in a lot of trouble because, unfortunately, for them, it's run by a bunch of incompetent communists. Being communist is bad. Being an incompetent communist is like the worst. And but the country's been taken over by this company called Gaesa that basically controls 70% of the economy. None of the money in that company goes to help the Cuban people. None.
Okay, calling Cuba communist.
We'll be working on it. You know, we want something good for the Cuban people, and hopefully there'll be a good outcome there for them. There needs to be. It's 90 miles from our shores, and having it a failed state 90 miles from our shores is a threat to the national security of the United States.
But that's it for now, guys. I will be back later on tonight with a live update. I hope everybody had a great Memorial Day weekend. And until later on, make sure you download my free app from the Google Play Store. There are links in the description down below for Apple and Android. My app allows me to send you notifications directly to your phone when I go live and when there's breaking news. Also, consider joining me on Patreon. I have all my updates posted over there without any advertisements like here on YouTube, and I give priority to the posting on Patreon. So all these updates go to Patreon first before I release them on YouTube. And also follow me on X. It's at NYPrepper1. The link is in the description down below. I do post on X throughout the day and night. And until later on, take care, God bless, and don't forget the 3 Ps. Prepare, practice, and persevere. And before I continue with the breaking news, I wanted to mention the sponsor for this update, which is Matt Hat Jerky. Guys, if you're a beef jerky lover like myself, you got to try Matt Hat Jerky. This is the best beef jerky I've ever had. I personally met the owner of this company at SHOT Show, and he's actually local to Pennsylvania. This company has an interesting story behind it. He founded this company when he was 11 years old. Yeah, that's right, 11 years old. He's now 19, and he makes gourmet beef jerky, the best jerky I've ever had. He's got over a dozen different flavors, and it's all sourced with U.S. beef, so no foreign beef, no nitrates, and no MSG. So it's all natural American beef jerky. And if you use my promo code NYPrepper, you can get 15% off your entire order. And you got to go to matthatjerky.com. And I'm going to leave a link in the description down below. That's matthatjerky.com. One word, matthatjerky.com. Use my promo code NYPrepper to get 15% off your entire order. And the link and the promo code are in the description down below.